Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breeding more fish. So if you've been keeping up with my series, I'm sharing secrets of how I breed fish. Whether it's the easy fish that everybody else is getting to breed and you can't figure it out, or one that's a little more challenging that you don't know where to start, I will share my tips and tricks on what I do to get the fish to breed. But today we're looking at a wild type live bearer, the black chin live bearer. And I might say its scientific name a little wrong, but we'll take a shot at it. Gira metallicus. I think the scientific name just looks cool, and it looks like it should be like the metallic live bear, but you'll see why it's called the black chin live bearer in just a moment. So let's dive right in and see how to breed these guys. The black chin live bearer, or the Gira metallicus, is native to Cuba. It lives in slow-moving streams, marshes, canals, and heavily vegetated water. Let's see if we can find a male here. Just duck behind the plant so as I get the... There we go. So there you can see the male, and you can kind of tell why he's called the black chin live bearer. They've got the stripe running along their body from their mouth, and he doesn't run away, from the mouth all the way down to the gonopodium. The females don't have it like you can see here, but the males will have that. There he is. So there are two color varieties. He doesn't like to stay still. There's two color varieties of these in the wild. The ones with the black chins, the black stripe, and there's some with a yellow stripe. I personally prefer the black stripe myself. The females are larger than the males and more subdued, and as you can tell, have the classic live bearer body shape. They top at about 2 inches long and makes them perfect for smaller tanks. I've got them in a 20 gallon here, but they would do fine in a 10. The fish are highly active, social, constant foragers, and are sensitive to environmental cues when it comes to breeding. Most of the failures in these come down to one thing: people just trying to treat them like guppies. They're part of the same family as guppies, but they're not exactly the same. Some people will feed them too much protein. These guys are omnivores and like a high vegetable content in their diet. So let's talk about the setup, because this is where breeding success really starts. You can breed them in a 10 gallon, but I've got them in a 20 gallon here. Me personally, I think the 20 gallon is a sweet spot. These fish are active and they love to swim around. The substrate, it doesn't matter a whole lot, but you can use gravel, fine sand, and having a substrate, in my opinion, is kind of important because it encourages the fish to kind of forage and graze and exhibit their natural behavior. plants. While necessarily, live plants isn't necessarily a have-to thing, but you want some sort of cover for the fry. The parents aren't typically known for eating the fry, but they could, and other fish that are in the tank might as well. I keep these in a species-only tank, and the females are more worried about running away from the male, and the male's more worried about running to the female. So they're not worried about eating the babies. Good plants to have with these fish are Java moss, guppy grass, hornwort, water sprite, floating plants like frogbit and salvinia. And you can see I've got a variety of different stuff in there. I've got some mostly guppy grass, but then I've also got some of course the ever dreaded duckweed in there. And I kind of am working to get rid of the duckweed in this one, but kind of at the same time pushing it to the back part, because if you can see that the fry will entertain themselves or go for cover or kind of forage around in the duckweed also. But like in this tank here, you'll want dense zones so the females can kind of disappear into them, and it'll help reduce their stress and let them have their babies. In this tank I use just a sponge filter as a filtration. That helps with keeping the babies safe and they don't get sucked up into like a power filter or something like that. These guys like a mid to higher pH. I'm running about a 7.8 right now, but they can go up to 8 just fine. They can go down to 7. It really matters on the stability. Get them to somewhere you can keep it and just leave it there. So what you want to do for water changes, do small, frequent water changes, like 10 or 15% a week. If you try to do like large water changes like what you would for a discus or something, you end up stressing the fish out too much. So what you're looking for in your grouping, too many males will lead to constant harassment, and too few of males will strain the breeding, and you won't get as much breeding. So your ideal ratio is 1 male to about 3 females. And as you probably saw a few minutes ago, there's no really courtship behavior in these. Some live bearers, the male will do dances for the female or big fin displays and stuff. If we can find the male again, I'm sure we'll see his technique, which it's not very romantic. His technique is just a quick dash and kind of flashes fins at her and then proceed to try to breed. It's kind of like breeding through harassment. He's found one that he likes. So one of the secrets that most people completely miss is that the black-chin livebearers are not a protein-heavy livebearer. In the wild, they feed on algae and biofilm, some microinvertebrates. But if you feed them like guppies with the higher protein stuff, their fertility drops. So you want to give them like spirulina flakes, high-quality algae foods. They'll take blanched zucchini or spinach. And maybe once a week, if that, you can give them like live foods like baby brine shrimp, daphnia, micro worms. But you don't want to do that very often. I rarely give these guys live foods. I gave them some micro worms yesterday, but that's the first time in probably a couple weeks that I've given them any of that. If you overfeed protein, you'll wind up with your females just getting fat and not really, they'll look like they're pregnant, but they won't be. Which, if the females get overweight, they wind up having smaller spawns, and the fry are weaker, and you'll just have trouble with them. So these guys have a gestation similar to like the platies and guppies. It's about 28 days. And if we can find a pregnant female in here, they get the traditional pregnant female look. Of course, they're all out when I don't want to film them, and when I bring the camera out, they disappear. The pregnant females get the boxy kind of look, like a guppy would. You can kind of tell when she's fixing to deliver, because she will be less active. She'll graze a lot more. I personally, on these guys, just let them colony breed in this tank. As you can see, I got little bitty babies, and I got medium-sized ones, and I got adults. I got all different sizes in here because they won't really bother their babies. The breeder boxes on these guys can stress them out and cause them to lose the fry. So the fry, when they're born, they're pretty small. So you might would think that you need to give them like infusoria or green water or powdered foods, but usually they're found with like crushed flakes. And they'll go after, like, if you have a little algae in your tank, a little mold buildup, they'll pick at microbes in that also. They'll go after some biofilm and different stuff like that. The big secret to these guys, I tried them for years and never could get them to do well for me. The secret that I changed that made them start breeding and doing really good is you want warmer waters with these guys. This is one of the few tanks that I run a heater in all the time. The room is heated typically, but I've got the heater in this tank to increase temperature even more. You want it up probably about the mid 80s. You're thinking like German Ram temperature, getting close to like discus temperature. When I increased the temperature on these guys, they loved it. They got more healthy looking, and they started breeding. And that's something with these guys, is like if you don't want them to breed a whole lot, you can cut the temperature back. And it's kind of like a population control type thing. So there is the secret to breeding the black chin livebearer. It's not really a shortcut or anything. It's just, a little warmer water. That was my trick that I was missing. and then kind of mimicking their natural habitat as far as letting them graze, giving them some cover, planted areas. So, let me know what you think of these guys. Have you seen them before? Where did he go? What do you think about the black chin there? Imagine it being like a bright yellow color. Would you like the yellow ones? I've had them before, and I prefer the black variety much better. If you've kept these guys and you've got a secret on how to breed them, let me know. These guys are really popping them out for me. They're happy, they're healthy, they're growing good and eating good, and increasing the size of their colony. What other species should I share tips about breeding? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see videos on more secrets of how to breed fish, or my other content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And we'll see you next time.